Hi, everyone. I'm Jamie Broderick. Welcome to the VIP Power Call for February 2019. Every month, members of the Success Connection, and today, my general audience, has access to somebody who has built a successful business, has a powerful network of connections, and who can shorten our journey to the top. I believe that if you hang out with people who are playing a higher game, you can't help but play a higher game yourself. My guest today is Selena Soo. She is a media and publicity strategist. She has expertise in networking and relationship building, right up my alley, and has been featured in more media than I can list. I'll try to list a few. Fast Company, Inc., Forbes, Entrepreneur, Marie Claire, Business Insider. The list goes on. Selena believes that media is the one thing that will catapult you and leapfrog you over the competition because it gets you the credibility and visibility you need to shine. Her goal is to find your hidden talent, highlight it, and make you a household name. True?
Yes.
How are you, Selena?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I'm thrilled. I would love for you to get to know your audience. We're going to have anybody that's on camera that wants to say who you are and then in 10 words or less, who you serve and what you do for them. And if you want to give me 5 words about how much media you've gotten so far, so we kind of know what level we're dealing with here, that'd be great.
Can I just say something quickly before we do the intros?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when I think about publicity, I'm not just thinking about traditional publicity like, magazines and TV. I'm thinking about new media. I'm thinking about influencer connections. When it comes to publicity, it's basically about being on other people's platforms so you can reach more people, because it's one thing for you to tell the world like, hey, I'm the #1 person, hire me. But if it's only you, there's only so far you can take it. Right? But if there's other people, other platforms, including influencers who have, reach and audiences, including audiences of buyers, that can do a lot more for you. And also, I have a program coming up called Impacting Millions, and we're adding in a piece about being a guest expert in other people's programs, just like how I am so fortunate to be a guest expert in Jamie's program. So it's not just traditional media, but also like speaking in people's mastermind groups, being the featured guest in their monthly membership, but all these visibility opportunities where basically you're being in some way endorsed as a go-to expert and getting that credibility, and also that reach and access to more people that could potentially be ideal clients. Because I think sometimes when people just hear the word media, they just think, oh yeah, that's not for me, or I don't need that right now. And there's many different types of media, and there's different times that you would focus on the different types, but I'm really here to have like a broader conversation about publicity and kind of putting you and your business in the spotlight, and expanding your network.
Oh my gosh, so true, so true. Yes, please don't think about the olden days of getting a press release in a local paper. That's not what we're talking about here at all. No, exactly. That's perfect. Thank you for clarifying that. I appreciate it. Michelle, you want to introduce yourself really quickly?
Oh, sure. Hi, Selena. Michelle McCartan. Sorry. I've been skiing too much on vacation. I founded a college counseling practice with $0, and now we are multiple 6 figures. Wow. And I've never done any media. I've become holistically a thought leader in young adulting, and I don't know what to do with that. So I love what you just mentioned. That would be perfect for me.
Awesome. Thank you.
Perfect. James? You're muted. Okay, now you're good.
Okay, there you go. I'm James Lucas. I'm a graphics expert, and I sell high-quality vegan and eco-friendly clothing and accessories made without cruelty.
Beautiful.
Yeah. See, Selena, remember Kimmer's birthday party? I gave her a vegan backpack.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That was from James's company.
Oh, I love it. Cool.
Kristen?
Hi, my name is Kristen Kane-Ford. I'm the Director of Social Media with Kane Partners, and I serve small to mid-sized companies for digital and online marketing. And my media experience has been television with NBC, radio, and Forbes I've had a quote in, and Glamour magazine, so not much.
Cool. Awesome. But yeah, you have a solid foundation, so you can definitely
Something, right? I need the influencers now.
Exactly. Yeah. Love it.
You're in the right place, girl.
Nice to meet you.
Marissa?
Hi, my name is Marissa Pulselli. I am a writer and speaker in love with words and in love with helping people express themselves with joy and authenticity. My media and publicity exposure is, I would say, not quite beginner level, but not nearly to the middle level yet. So I've been featured in a few local radio programs, podcasts, and spoken on a few stages and conferences, but definitely something I need to improve on.
Awesome. Great.
It's great. Christina? Oh, I'll do it. Oh, you do it. No, it's not letting me. You have to do it.
Sorry about that. I'm Christina Hallett. We actually have met through Trisha Brook. I'm one of the Speaker Who Dares, and I'm a clinical psychologist and an expert in harnessing the positive power of stress.
Beautiful.
Yeah, Christina was just a speaker at my Florida retreat. She's great.
Yeah.
Leslie?
Hi, I'm Leslie Velios, founder and CEO of Stress Less with EFT and Stress Less Kids. And my media experience is probably beginner level. I've been at a couple of radio shows, a few podcasts, and done a lot of speaking from the stage. But I would say it's pretty early on in media for me.
Got it. Great.
Okay. Julia, do you want to come on? Here you are.
Hey, Selena. I met you at Tap to Speak. Good to see you again. And I have a background in media and now doing the influencer thing, just crafted a 24-speaker online show. And another one to come. So dig the media, dig what you're talking about.
She's digging it. That's great. Okay. Jazz, you want to introduce yourself quickly to Selena? Oh.
Long time no see. I worked with Selena a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
Like 6 years ago. So, yeah, I'm in Speakers Who Dare and founder of Spiraling into Genius. I have podcast experience and web series experience. Yeah, writing, channel, speaking.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's good to see you
Good
again.
to see. Yeah, good to see you too.
Marla? Let me try to unmute yourself, girl. Yeah, if you guys could figure out how to unmute yourselves ahead of time, that'd be awesome.
See, there we go. Sorry about that. I am Marla Schultz. I'm also a Speaker Who Dares, and I met Jamie through Trisha Brook. They are quite the dynamic duo. I'm a professional stand-up comic. I've toured the world, opened for lots of headliners. I'm a joke writer. Hopefully Christina and James can attest to my punch-up abilities. My media experience is really extensive. I've been on Dr. Oz. I'm a regular on Sirius XM's John Fugelsang show as a regular guest. I've been on Good Day New York, just around the country, just from touring and being I invented a product. And and then the flip side, I used to be a news producer and a writer. So I do a lot of press releases and bios, et cetera. But I also, I've booked something called satellite media tours, and I've worked with a number of celebrities, recording artists, actors, movie people, and I deal with TV producers all over the country. I've done a ton of, I sound like such a blowhard. Sorry about that. Like, who is she? But I do a lot of podcasts, and what I'm moving into is the speaking world. And my challenge has been accepting and getting into my, dealing with my vulnerability and not have it be all about dick jokes. And I hope I didn't offend anybody. But where I need help is the social media stuff. And focusing my content. I'm great with everybody else, but when it comes to me, that's a big challenge. And I think that was more than 10 words.
Yeah, a little bit. But I didn't expect any less.
Okay, I'm sorry. I still have like anesthesia brain, so sorry about that.
It's okay. We love you, Marla. Joanne, short and sweet, girl.
Hi, I'm Joanne. Hi, I'm Joanne Brockman, local area director for Au Pair Care, offering child care solutions for families.
Hi, Joanne. That's amazing. Christina, you want to come on? Or Anne?
Sure. I'm Ann Smith. I run an organization called Books at Work. And we bring facilitated conversations of narrative literature into workplaces for people to share ideas and get to know each other across hierarchies. Media exposure has been intermittent, and I'd like to get it better. There's been a piece about us in the Christian Science Monitor. I wrote a piece for the New York Times. We've been written up in a couple of more city newspapers like the Philadelphia Inquirer, the Chicago Tribune. I was once on Point, WBUR's On Point, which I really was excited about, and I like that format, the radio, the podcast, and I'm trying to get more into the speaker space as well.
Great.
That's awesome. Lisa, Allie, Beatrice, Monica, Lynn, any of you want to come on? Do it now, girls. All right. So this is a pretty exciting day. I'm thrilled to have you here, Selena, as our guest. I'm also launching membership for the Success Connection today. So the reason I put this together, I have a VIP event every month. You are my special guest this month, and I decided to open it up so that people can get a peek inside Success Connection, but also learn about impacting millions and meet you. And then also I figured I'll be generous and share. Why not? So I wanted to ask you a couple questions myself. Because we are of like minds. We believe that it's really important to get access to influencers. So I was wondering if you could comment on that, about the importance of and the power of getting noticed and getting the attention of influencers.
Yeah. So I love that question. I also just want to even define what an influencer is, because I have a little bit of a different definition than the average definition out there. So yes, people like Oprah Winfrey and Richard Branson are influencers in the world, but when we think about our day-to-day lives, they're not always the most relevant influencers. So I think an influencer is basically somebody who can help you reach your goals, right? Someone who can help you reach your goals faster. So yes, it's those mentors, it's your colleagues who are a couple of steps ahead of you, it's those experts and authors you admire, but it's also the champions in your world. It's your super fans, it's your students, it's your clients that are getting insane results from your programs, or are huge raving fans of your product, and they're bringing other customers in. So yeah, when you think of influencer, there's really a world. It's not just, oh, we're trying to, go up and reach people that we have zero connection to. I mean, that can be a part of building and expanding your influencer network, but I think it's important to recognize that there are important relationships in your own backyard, and those are worth cultivating as well. So just wanted to say that before I answer your question. And so the question was, why is it so important to develop these relationships? So when it comes to there's a million reasons, but this call, a big part of it is visibility, right? And also visibility so that you can grow your business, right? And speaking is an aspect of visibility. So when it comes to getting these incredible opportunities, it's about a relationship, right? It's not about Oprah Magazine saying yes. It's about an editor at Oprah Magazine, a contributor, a writer wanting to include you in the story. So the fastest way to get any opportunity is through another person who believes in you and cares about you. And I will say that, interestingly, just in today's age, it's like there's the media gatekeepers are a little bit different than they were before. So yes, they are people that are employed full-time in the media, but they're also influencers who are now contributors for Entrepreneur and Business Insider. It's, other, entrepreneurs who have stages and things like that. So it's not just people who work full-time in the media, who are just, looking at things from a certain dimension. It's people who are business owners, who are peers of yours, who are colleagues, who are deciding, like, is this a person that I connect with? Like when someone, I think about, like, for example, I just give an example, like Pat Flynn. He's got a podcast called Smart Passive Income, and it's a huge podcast. People get tons of subscribers and buyers when they're on it. And at this point, I've noticed, that a lot of his people in his mastermind, as an example, are people that are on the podcast. I'm not saying that it's only those people, but those are people that he's willing to consider. Or I was on the podcast, and part of the reason is because I built a relationship. So I saw in his newsletter that he was coming to New York City for a conference, and he might have time to meet up with some readers. And so I sent an email and I said, hey, I saw that you're going to be heading to New York City, and I would love to host like an influencer dinner party in your honor. And we have some mutual friends. So I mentioned who those mutual friends are and people that I would like to invite to the party, and asked, let me know if you would be interested. And he was super interested. And, I connected with his assistant. We planned it. And at the end of the dinner party, he was like, Selena, if there's anything I can do for you, let me know. If I can have you on the podcast, that would be amazing. So, I was able to get on the podcast, and I liked, the thing is with these opportunities, it's not just about being like knowing your stuff. It's more than that, right? People want to know like so many things, right? And it's not, you don't need to have all these things, but things people consider is like, what's this person's brand like? If they go to someone's website and it like kind of seems like super internet marketing with like yellow highlighter and red arrows and like out of date photos, they might feel like, okay, this just something feels like slightly off. It's not super on brand, or like, I'm going to spend an hour like interviewing them. Like, is this someone that I care about, that I have good rapport, that I'm going to really enjoy the conversation? Is it someone who I feel like has got my back and would want to find a way to potentially support me in the future? So there's just so many things kind of happening that are unspoken when people are making these decisions. And I was just in touch with, there's two people that I was talking to who both have columns with Forbes, and one of them I got featured in her column, and the other person was a new relationship I was looking to cultivate because I wanted to be able to support the people in my world and get them hooked up. And she's a mental health expert who also focuses on entrepreneurship. And I said to her, like, are you looking for, guests for your column? I would love to recommend people. And she said to me, honestly, Selena, like the work that it takes for me to write the column, it has to be someone that I have a relationship, or there has to be some kind of like motivation beyond like, this is an expert, and they know their stuff. So, and I even think too, like people pitch me about like, oh, can I speak to your mastermind group and this and that? And I think it's rare that I say yes to cold pitches. It's usually someone that I have a bit of a connection with, that I trust them, and I know that they're really going to show up for my people. I know the quality of their work, and there's just a deeper relationship where I feel more excited, to choose that person over someone who is a stranger. So, and I'm not saying that to say that you need to be, the only way to get opportunities is to have a relationship in advance. But I think it is important to understand that with a lot of the biggest visibility opportunities that you want, it is helpful to have a network, and to build that network before you need it. And also, like when you're reaching out to people, you can be building relationships as you're reaching out to people. There doesn't need to be like an existing relationship from a year ago. There's different ways that you can kind of connect with people and warm people up and just show that you're someone who is really, thoughtful and all of that. But I just think that's like an important part of media that no one's really going to necessarily like teach you. It's not like in PR textbooks. And usually when you hire a publicist, like they handle everything. You're not really necessarily involved in like the relationship building with the media. You're just there to like show up at the interview. But when you combine, publicity know-how with cultivating meaningful relationships, you're going to get the opportunities that no one else is able to get.
Oh yeah. I'm all about relationships. That's for sure. That's where it all began, back with connections. So I would just like to say that your program, Impacting Millions, is how I landed for that, my advice in Forbes.
Oh, I love it.
Your program, first of all, it helped with my credibility because I up-leveled my website with a media page and a proper media bio, thanks to your editors. And then you gave us a direct line to a contributor to Forbes, pitched a bunch of story ideas, and then I followed up, and it resulted in my advice on networking in Forbes in December. So I'm pretty happy about those results.
Awesome.
So thank you. Yeah. So this year's Impacting Millions, are you going to be having direct access to media people like editors where you can submit?
Yeah. So there's a couple of things. One is I'm bringing on someone almost full time from the media to be a part of my team. So she's going to be, a resource on group calls, and there's various ways to get feedback and things like that. But yeah, I think it's really valuable to be able to hear from the media directly. What they think of your story ideas. There's opportunities to share your website, just different things, right, where you get that opinion. So yes, there is that. And then also, one of the things that I love about this publicity program is, I kind of bring my business know-how into it, because I understand, like, you guys are all so busy. You've got a million things that you could be doing in your business. You could be having sales calls. You could be working with a high-level client. You could be planning out your next launch. So when you're thinking about making time for publicity and visibility, I certainly want to make sure that it's worth your while. And so, like, my mindset is, like, I'm very, like, kind of intentional and strategic in helping people figure out, like, what are the right opportunities. And once you get the opportunities, also, like, how you leverage them, because a lot of people will say, oh, I did a podcast, but I didn't get new clients, or I was mentioned in an article and nothing happened to my business. And I think part of it is that, people don't really know how to leverage the opportunities. So maybe that's something that we can talk about further, in our conversation. But to go back to your question, yes, I bring in media because I feel like they have a unique perspective. But then I also have the perspective as the entrepreneur who helps people grow their, 6- and 7-figure businesses, like things you want to keep in mind so that you're maximizing the publicity.
Absolutely. Sorry. Why don't we dive into some of the questions that were submitted? One of my clients is a board-certified pediatrician. Her name's Allison Mitzner. She's a senior director at Pfizer as well, and family wellness expert, fitness and lifestyle enthusiast, an author and a speaker. And her whole superpower is helping parents feel more calm and confident about their abilities to care for their families. So she's been published in the media dozens and dozens and dozens of times, even though she has a website that is one that she hides because it's kind of put together by herself. Yeah, somehow she's become the media darling on all types of topics. So her question is, how should she be connecting with the parents, or with, like, focusing on the parents or the kids, and any advice on how to increase her media, and which, I guess her biggest question is which to connect with and which not to. So because when I work with my private clients, I'm kind of the thought that you go for the one that's going to make the biggest difference rather than going for 10 tiny little things. So like when I worked with Trisha Brook, we got her on John Lee Dumas's Entrepreneur on Fire, and then she could just go anywhere with that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. So yeah, I'll share my thoughts on that. So, I think there were a couple of questions in there. One was like, do you target parents or target the kids? I would say target parents for the most part, because those are going to be the people who are, hiring you, investing, and all of that. And in speaking to the parents, you're also addressing the kids' issues. So I think there's that. But what I want to share is like this framework I've developed called the publicity pyramid, because it's kind of like a step-by-step approach to getting publicity, but it also talks about like what kind of publicity you want to get based on your business model, based on your goals. So I want everyone to imagine a pyramid, so like a triangle like this, and then you've got your base, right? So your base is your home base. So when you are, reaching out to the media, one of the first things they're going to do is Google you. And so if they Google someone who calls themselves an expert, but there is nothing about them online, no website, no social media accounts, no info, they're going to wonder, wait, is this an established expert? Are they the real deal? So it sounds like, and what's your client's name again?
Allison.
It sounds like, Allison, you have a little bit of website shame, and that's okay. It just goes to show that your website doesn't have to be perfect. You can still get a ton of media opportunities, even if, something is not fully put together, but you still need that basic home base. But that can also be an opportunity for you to take it to the next level, especially since you have all those media hits. I think it may be time to develop a media page, and that would amplify, the publicity that you're getting and help you get more, even better opportunities. But we all want to have our, some kind of home base, right? And the next level, and with a home base, it might also include like a blog where you have your articles and you're sharing your expertise, your story on your about page and all of that. So the next level is guest posting. And so that's level 2. So what I like about this is a natural extension from developing your online presence, because you're already writing about your story online. You're already sharing your advice on your website. So now this is doing the same thing, but putting it on other platforms. And so there are lots of websites like, Forbes, Mind Body Green, Huffington Post, Thrive Global, Business Insider, that are built on the contributor model, and they are looking for people all the time to give them content, Medium, just so many different places. And these are household brand names. When people hear like, oh, you were on Forbes or you were on Huffington Post, like everybody kind of understands what that means. So right away, as you start getting media, you have that like, credibility booster. Also, when they link back to your website, that's great for SEO purposes. And also with a written piece, it's easier for people to then click there to go back to your website or go to your opt-in, if you're able to include a free gift at the end of the article. So that would be like the first kind of publicity. That's just like the most natural extension from developing the home base. Then level 3, we have podcasts and video. So now we're getting into more niche media. I mean, with the guest posting, there are niche sites as well, but there are a lot of kind of like big mainstream ones too. But with, podcasts and video opportunities and even opportunities like I'm having right now, these are more niche. So like if you told your parents I was on XYZ podcast, it might not be a household name. They might not get it in the same way as like Forbes or, Business Insider, but it could actually be more relevant to you connecting with your ideal clients, right? More niche. So when someone is engaging in a 30-minute to 1-hour podcast interview or guest class that you're teaching, it's like, these are people that are investing their time, their attention, their resources, right, into learning and growing. So this is actually the hottest market for if you are looking to sell things that are more high ticket in terms of, higher end courses and, one-on-one coaching services and things like that. So this level 3 is actually where I spend the most of my time, because I am very, intentional about the kind of opportunities that are best for me. And then it's like an extension from after writing about it on your site and other sites. Now it's like you can talk about it, right? So you're just kind of moving up, and everything's building to support, the next level. The level after that is magazines. So now we're going from more niche and going into mainstream. So the cool thing about magazines are, people bring them to the beach with them. They have their magazine in bed. It's at the airport, the doctor's office, and you're reaching a lot of people. Like you literally are reaching millions of people. And magazines are great if you are looking to reach a mass audience. Maybe you have a product that is a lower price point product, like a book. Maybe it's an iPhone app. Maybe it's a gadget. Maybe something for around $99, $149, $200. But a magazine article is not going to be the number one lead source for like a $10,000 service program or whatever it is, right? But it is a great place to reach larger audiences of people with a more mass product. And also when you get into magazines, like that can help with book deals and all sorts of opportunities and credibility. So that's kind of another level, right? That's level 4. And then level 5 is TV. So with TV, typically TV segments are 3 minutes long, which is definitely like, quite different than like a 30-minute to 1-hour podcast interview or video or some kind of interview show. So you really need to get your sound bites down. You really have to be presentable. When you're on TV, like you're immediately like in front of, whether it's hundreds of thousands or millions of people. So you kind of want to build up towards that. And what happens a lot is people will say to me, Selena, I know for sure that if just Oprah knew about me, like she would be all over it. She would want me on Super Soul Sunday. She would connect with my message. Or, Selena, I know I'm meant to be on the Today Show and I want to make that happen now. And, that's amazing. It definitely can be a part of your plan, but it's not going to be your starting point with media, because like going back to, if someone told Oprah's producers, like, you really need to know about this life coach or this women's empowerment expert, and they Googled you and nothing showed up, or not very much, you wouldn't seem as credible. Maybe they Google someone else and they see, oh, this person's got like a website, and oh wow, I'm seeing articles come up, I'm seeing podcast interviews, I can see this person's consistent, I see that they have a body of work, you know, and so that's like, and they're building their audience, right? And they're showing up for it. So they're going to see you as the ultimate expert. So when it comes to publicity, like, I mean, it depends on what your goals are, but if you have like, you know, for some people, just a handful of publicity is, you know, good enough. But if you are really looking to become the #1 ultimate thought leader, like when people talk about your category, your name comes up as one of the top people, you have to be out there consistently, not just one time or two times, you know, but month after month, year after year, showing up in different places. And you have to build that body of work to get, like, you know, the opportunities that you want. So, yeah, I just say that because I think a lot of people, like, and I'm not saying you have to do it in this exact order. You know, if you have a friend who's got an amazing podcast and you guys have got great rapport, you could go there instead of guest posting. But sometimes people, they start with opportunities and like, oh shoot, I wasn't ready for it. And, oh, I don't know, you know, now there's all this attention on me, but I don't even have like any kind of like online home where people could come to. So this is what I would call the path of least resistance. We can go back to more details around, whose question is it again? What is it? Who's
Allison?
Allison's question, or whoever it was. But I just wanted to kind of explain that framework before we dive in more.
No, that's really great. The credibility piece is huge. And the one thing about media that I find so fascinating, it's like it could be a runaway train. So you start with that credibility and start getting media, and then there's this like pivot point where you start getting pursued. So I'm not pitching anymore. Now everyone keeps asking me to interview me. It's glorious.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it is powerful because, you know, they're researching, like, like they're searching on Google, and like if you have a lot of links back to your site from like, you know, authority sites, like that's going to help, or they're going to see, oh wow, this person was an expert in another article. So yeah, and with media, like there's certain media that are household names. There are others that people don't know as well. Like maybe not everyone's heard of Greatest, perhaps, as a health website, or maybe not everyone knows about Refinery 29, but people in the media know about these websites. So even if like some of the media you have are not like sites that everyone has heard of, you know, you're still building your street cred. There are people reading it. And it is great to be able to say that I've been featured in multiple places, several places, you know, dozens of podcasts versus just like, you know, only the same ones again and again, and be limited to that. So in terms of, you know, what kind of media is right for me, I would say, I think everybody should be doing some kind of guest posting, because I think it's really great to have your thought leadership ideas online on a website other than your own. And that's content that's really easy for people to consume. You know, not everybody is going to listen to an hour podcast interview that you post. Some will, but not everyone, right? So I just think that that is very valuable. But I think for most of the people on this call that have, you know, higher end like products, services, I definitely think doing like interviews, podcasts, video is important. And then with the magazine and TV, I mean, that definitely plays a role. And I personally, like, I know that one day I'll have a book. You know, I don't know when it will be. I know that I will one day. But when I start kind of focusing on more mainstream stuff, that's going to be a bigger area of focus for me. But in terms of right now, like I'm actually targeting a niche audience. Like I'm not looking to be known by like the average person. I'm really looking to connect with experts and visionary leaders who want to make a difference in the world. And the best way for me to focus on those people are through podcast interviews and opportunities like this. So don't feel like, even though there's certain opportunities at the top of the pyramid, if you're not focused on that, it means like, oh, it's not as good, right? You need to select the opportunities that are right for you. And also when you can develop relationships with the podcast hosts, with the interviewers, with the people that are publishing your work, they're going to care more about you. So I think about like a friend of mine, or actually she was a friend and a client, and she is a thought leader on self-love and emotional eating. And the women's editor at Huffington Post like really, really loved her stuff so much. So instead of just submitting through the regular portal, she would just send the article directly to the editor. And the editor just felt like her content was so good that she would just make sure it would go on the homepage. And so this client, Isabel, would get a lot of subscribers. And, you know, I think about like when I do podcast interviews, when I have a bit of a relationship, and sometimes a relationship can be built like after you get the opportunity. You know, maybe it's like you make a connection for the podcast host, or you send them a gift, or you write them a nice email, or you're doing shout outs on social media saying you're so excited. I mean, there's different ways to kind of nurture a relationship. But then when you actually do have the interview, the podcast host is even more invested. Like, please, like even James, like, tell us about your program. And like they care more about the person. When they're pushing it out there, they want to make sure more people see it because it's someone that they actually care about and they really want it to be as successful as possible. So you want to think about, okay, you know, based on the publicity pyramid and what my goals are, what are the opportunities that make sense? And where can I also like nurture relationships to help the opportunity like be a bigger one to maximize it? You also want to think about what are my natural strengths. You know, for some people, it's like, honestly, if I can get on video, like I come alive, right? That's not necessarily me. I'm not like, video is not my go-to, but for some people it is, right? Others, it's like, no, like writing is just like the way that I connect with people's hearts. So getting clear on that. And then also at some point, we should also talk about how to leverage the publicity and maximize it so it really does something for your business. But when you do all of those things, then everything kind of works beautifully. And a lot of times people just have no strategy, no strategic thinking, and some, you know, as they're kind of pursuing these visibility opportunities.
Yeah. Marissa, what do you think about about having strategy to everything you do? Have you been hearing me say that in the mastermind over and over again? Yes.
Repeatedly, and it's finally sinking in. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, Michelle is on, and Michelle has a question. She is the one who founded Forward College Counseling 10 years ago, has counseled thousands of students, and she is creating and launching an online class program called The Art of Adulting to help college students successfully transition into young adulthood. And she would like to know what a great opening subject line would be. So Michelle, you want to take it from here?
Well, sure. I just, we grew very organically, so I've never done any, even local PR, we're all referrals. So, but I do know I probably should be, you know, reaching out organically again, I guess. I don't know, but it makes me uncomfortable. I'm definitely not comfortable on video. I love hiding behind my student stories.
Yeah.
So I was thinking a safe tagline, I could just send things out and write.
Yeah. Okay. So you have a course, and all these things are happening. So what the media would be specifically so that people are more aware of.
Yeah, it is at that price point. It's a $49. Like we have several different, but it's an easy graduation gift. It's called Rock Your Freshman Year of College, and it's modules, and we have guest experts on how to deal with anxiety, how to get great communication with your professor, how to, you know, get a great relationship with your roommates, how to make friends, you know, dive into college and get that 3.8, you know, make mom and dad happy. So it's a $49 price point. It's a really great course. I have about 6,000 people on my email list, former clients. So I think it'll be good, but I would love to just, why not pitch it a little bit to get some more exposure?
Absolutely. And so because my head was all thinking about the Art of Adulting. So that's something separate, right? That's another course, but then you have the Rock Your Freshman Year.
Yeah, it's sort of like my platform, and we have a bunch of, but we're launching with Rock Your Freshman Year of College.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's really fun. Okay, so yeah, there's a couple of things kind of coming to mind. So one is like when you think of media, like for the most part, like they're thinking about how do we reach a mainstream audience? How do we make sure that the topic applies to a lot of people? Unless it's like super niche kind of media. And so kind of Rock Your Freshman Year. I mean, I love the name of it. It sounds super fun and, you know, it's great. But one thing I think about is like when people are watching TV, you know, there's moms watching it, there's older people, there's younger people, and like what percentage of the people watching that television segment are going to be entering their freshman year? You know what I mean? So that's like, we have to keep that in mind. I mean, there's certain times of the year where it would obviously be more timely, but you know, when we're talking about a very like niche specific group, it can limit us. So I think about like one of my clients, Christine Egan, she was a breast cancer survivor, and she wrote a book about surviving breast cancer and all the things that people, would want to know, and preventative and things like that. And when I was talking to editors at women's magazines, they were like, obviously this is a very important topic, but the average person reading health magazine doesn't have breast cancer. You know what I mean? So it's not as, it's like more relevant for like breast cancer awareness month, but in terms of, the millions of readers, like it's not going to be directly applicable. And so we had to think broader about, okay, what are her expert topics? Not just one thing, but like, so self-care was a big topic, kind of, healthy living, like non-toxic chemicals in the home. She talked about like her relationship with her husband and her kids, because her whole thing was about like, living happy, living healthy and all of that. So we had like several different topics. And so she could always be relevant to the media by focusing on a particular topic that will be interesting to them. And then as part of the intro, it's like, oh yeah, the author of The Healthy Girl's Guide to Breast Cancer. Or in her journey, she learned XYZ, but it wasn't like leading with like breast cancer, because people would think like, oh, that's only if I have breast cancer, So then I just wonder for you, like when you're getting into the media for these mainstream opportunities, could you lead with something more broad while still mentioning some of the other stuff? Because I think that would make it a little bit easier. How is that landing?
So lead as a international college counselor, or no? Or I'm trying to kind of, I didn't know if I should distance myself from that, or because what we learned is that, the young adults really are craving direction.
Young adults, okay, for their freshman year.
Yeah, we actually have a few courses laid out, like land your first job, build your adult foundation. I mean, I could pitch any of them, but.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that this would be great for like, obviously like back to school, but I wonder if it's something more broad where it's like, you're the founder of XYZ, and here are some like, back to school tips for parents, and then also for the individuals who are going back to school, but maybe it's not like 100% only related to college. It could be one of your bullet points, but the whole thing isn't just about like freshman year. So yeah, I think that you can still get those opportunities, and like back to school is really big, and it's about coming up with like a creative idea, or just, a timely idea that has relevance to a large group of people. But then once you get the opportunity, it's like you have to leverage it. So like, let's say you're, going to on like a TV show, like a local TV show, to talk about it. You could send an email to your list, and post on social media with a photo of you being like, oh my God, or whatever, or, and being like, guys, I'm so excited. I'm going to be going to, XYZ. Oh, the other thing I'm wondering is like, well, what if it gets canceled or rescheduled? So maybe let's wait until you go to the TV station, take a photo of yourself there, or do a Facebook Live there, and then you share it with your audience. And like, I'm here in the green room. I'm going to be on TV in just 30 minutes. I'm so excited to be sharing, my work, my mission, my ideas with more people. And they're like, oh my God, what is it? And then you get like the video clip, and then you can share it again. And then you can share it like in different ways, like on, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, newsletter, all these different things. So you don't want to just kind of mention something once. You want to mention it multiple times in different phases. And then, it's a part of, because when people start seeing you everywhere, so maybe it's a TV thing, and then it's like a podcast interview, and there you could go super niche, and talk about like the freshman year and all of that. But people start seeing you everywhere, they think like it's a sign. If they see someone once, they're like, oh, that person's cool, but then they get busy. But if they're seeing them like 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times and beyond, they're like, this is a sign. Like the universe is telling me to pay attention to them. Or, oh my gosh, this person's like blowing up. I better like sign up, before it's too late. So yeah, I think for you, I would think for all of us, I would think about, okay, well, what are some really niche opportunities around my topic that are really close to, the course I want to sell, the service I want people to buy, but then what are some like broader topics? So like for me, the main thing that I offer is publicity through my Impacting Millions course. but that's not the only thing I talk about when I'm in the media. You know, I also talk about personal branding, which is relevant to a lot of people. I also talk about networking, which is a universal topic that is interesting to everyone, whether you're, you know, a stay-at-home mom or someone, you know, working the 9 to 5, or you're an entrepreneur. We all want to build relationships, right? And so, like, I'll, you know, appear in Business Insider, or I'll, you know, I would be happy to be in the New York Times giving networking advice, even if I'm not like selling a networking course at the moment, just because it is valuable to, well, one, build the relationships with the media, have that reach, have that credibility. And then it's like, also, like, now that they know you better, maybe in the future, they're like, oh, hey, can we have you back for this other thing? But there's that relationship that's already there.
That's great. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
That's excellent. Yeah, and depending on which strategy you go with, that determines which media platform fits in there, right?
100%.
That's great. So Leslie, you're on. You had a question that wasn't really related to media, but perhaps Selena would like to comment on it. She wanted to know about using paid ads to grow her audience.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe compare that to media. You know, media is free relatively, right?
Yeah, I have a lot of opinions about paid advertising. I mean, I think there's a lot of pros. I think there's a lot of cons. I think it's common for people to lose a lot of money in paid advertising, myself included. I think that you should be doing your own ads, or you should be having a team member do them. I'm not like a huge fan of spending $2,000 to $5,000 a month to have someone run your ads. I think it's important to kind of know how to do it yourself, or to understand like the strategy behind it. But the thing is, so like a few years ago, like 2014 to 2016, like anybody could run ads on Facebook and make money. Now it's a lot harder, and the you know, dirty little secret is like a lot of people are losing money on Facebook ads, including myself. But the way to really make it work is to pair it with organic and to pair it with social proof, right? So typically you're okay, run like a Facebook ad to a webinar registration page, and then on the webinar, like, sell them your product. But what you really want to do is you want to develop a warm audience that already kind of looks up to you, that sees you as a go-to expert, that's had some kind of engagement with you, or they've engaged with your content. They're already on your newsletter list, or they've watched a cool video that you have online, or they're seeing, oh wow, this person is in the media, whatever it is, right? But there's some kind of like relationship connection. They're getting to know you. And then you want to retarget them to then opt into something, because then your lead cost is going to go way down and you're getting quality people. So like, for example, I have a video coming out soon that's all about being an introvert and having a desire to help more people and impact millions. So we're putting like a lot of energy into that video, and we have like a whole plan to make the video go viral and get a lot of shares. We're also going to run Facebook ads to it, but then we can see like, okay, we're going to retarget people that watch at least 25% of the video. So at least like, 30, 40 seconds. And then, when the time is right, we're going to retarget those people to, the opt-in for the free video series, right? But at that point, they've already seen a video from me. They already are like, they were moved by what I said. So that's more valuable than just going straight to cold traffic who has no idea who you are and just like, hey, give me your email because you're going to get this thing, because everyone's saying the same thing. So I think, I'm grateful for paid advertising. It's something that I use in my business. But I think that a lot of people just think the answer is just, hiring a Facebook ad specialist and throwing a lot of money. And there's just like too many people I know that say like, I spent $10,000, $16,000, $25,000, $50,000. I just like didn't see a return. So, sometimes it's like, oh, that's a shortcut. But I think there's no, one thing that we all need to do is we need to develop a relationship with the audience that we're looking to serve. And then when you pair that, with Facebook ads, then you're going to get a lot further with it.
Yeah. Business is about people.
Yeah.
It's a good way to end the call. Thank you so much for your time, Selena. I really appreciate it. Next month, I'll be promoting her event, her program, Impacting Millions. I am a proud partner and student of that program. It's incredible. Also, for those that weren't on the call initially, Success Connection membership open today. It's open for the next 3 weeks. So any parting words, Selena? Where can we find you in the meantime?
Yeah, where you can find me. I mean, selenasoo.com is a place where you can find me. Also, if you want to get a different video training for me, I actually go deeper into how to build relationships with influencers and how I've done them. I share specific stories. You can go to selenasoo.com/VIP video. And it's a short, it's like 30 minutes or 28 minutes. If you want to get more content. And yeah, I'm just excited. I have a lot of cool content coming up. My introvert video, because I mean, one thing I will just kind of add before we wrap is I'm just really passionate about diversity and inclusion. And, you know, with the work that I do to help elevate experts, thought leaders, and entrepreneurs, I think it's so valuable for there to be all sorts of people showing up as leaders in the world. Because I remember when I started my business, you know, being someone who came from a nonprofit background and who was shy and introverted and highly sensitive, I was like wondering, is there anyone out there who is like somewhat like me, who has made it in business? Because you just see like the Gary V's or like the really loud extroverts, men who just seem to kind of crush everything in their path. And like, you know, they're like born for the stage and the camera. And it's like, okay, so is that what it takes to, like, you know, you have that kind of profile to be successful in business? And I've had my business for almost 7 years right now. It's definitely been a lot of hard work, a lot of ups and downs. I mean, yeah, a lot of wins, but behind the scenes, a lot of struggles too. So I'm definitely very happy to still be standing and to be, you know, doing the work that I do. But, you know, even more than that, like elevating other leaders, you know, people who have different backgrounds, different personalities, you know, different age groups, different, you know, people of color and things like that. So I'm just passionate about elevating more leaders and helping more people learn about your work. So I will be releasing more content and sharing more free stuff with you. And I do have a program for anyone who would like to go deeper. So yeah, I think that's it for now. I just want to thank you so much, Jamie, for this opportunity.
Well, you're welcome. Thanks for being my VIP guest this month. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.